Greetings, my name is Leslie Hip. I teach art at Ryzen High School. I'm demonstrating an acrylic pour for one of my 8th grade classes. This is an art skill that we do in my most advanced art class. Teaching is my second career. I was previously employed as a human resources generalist, a director of finance and administration, and I previously held responsibilities that included payroll, workers' compensation, safety, unemployment, benefits, retirement accounts for my employees, and many other duties as assigned. I joined the United States Army Reserves upon finishing my junior year of high school and drilled at Camp Robinson every weekend, spent spring break of my senior year called to duty to provide medical services with the National Guard due to a tornado, and more drill in preparation for attending boot camp. Upon graduating high school, the plan was when I went back to MEPS to switch over to active duty for the U.S. Army, and the Army was going to pay for medical school. Well, life happens, and as you will hear, a whole lot of life has happened to me. Running track my senior year, I blew out my knee. Had that injury happened on Army Reserve time, they would have rehabbed my knee, and I would have been able to continue on that adventure, but life had other plans. When I graduated high school from Whitehall in 1996, I moved to California and became a civilian employee of the United States Marine Corps for 5 years. The Marine Corps hired me to do task analysis to see if they could convert some of the military temporary assignments and light duty assignments to civilian positions. I was actually able to convert 60% of those jobs to civilian jobs. After my time with the Marine Corps, I lived all over Texas for more than 10 years, in at least 7 different cities. I feel experiencing life outside of Arkansas was the best thing that I could have ever experienced. I have friends living on every continent around the globe, and that, thanks to social media, I've been able to keep track of over the decades. Yes, I said decades. Today is my birthday, and I'm now 45. Yikes, where has the time gone? I'm of Native American, German, and Scottish descent thanks to my cousin Travis and his family DNA sleuthing skills. Our ancestors initially immigrated to the United States as Scottish prisoners who were used as indentured servants, and when their time was served, they found that life with the Native American tribes was very similar to Scottish Highland clan life. So here we are today. My dad's mother was half German and half Native American. My mother comes from Pennsylvania Dutch Amish people. However, I carry more of the Scottish and Native American DNA. Interestingly, my brother carries most of the Dutch Amish DNA. Thank you, Travis and AncestryDNA.com. We will find out in the coming months whether or not Travis will need a bone marrow transplant, and should I be a match, I will be donating to him. My son Ryder was born when I was 32, and my daughter Riley was born when I was 33. I had established myself, and my husband at the time was employed, so I took some time off to be a stay-at-home mom and did some safety contract work from time to time. When I was ready to go back to work full-time, I noticed some health issues with my son. I battled the healthcare system for more than 6 months to finally get a generic diagnosis of generalized seizure disorder. This was in November of 2012. By March of 2013, my son was regressing in skills, and he had lost his ability to use the restroom independently. His speech and language was gone, and during all of this time, my husband became abusive toward me. And by June of 2013, he who shall not be named, or is rarely often referred to as the donkey, filed for divorce because he didn't want to be a part of my son's life. At one point, I was left literally stranded in Corpus Christi, Texas, with $80 to my name. I drove home to my parents' house in Ryzen, and life has gone nowhere up but since. I'm a homeowner. I will be married a year in March to a man I've known since we were in 5th grade together. Both of my children needed early intervention and received that from Jenkins in Pine Bluff. My son will be 13 this year, my daughter 12. My son finally received a diagnosis of Dravet syndrome and Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, which are 2 different rare seizure disorders. And my daughter has worked very hard to get off of an IEP and onto a 504 plan and is rocking 5th grade. Ryder's currently experiencing a boom in cognition, and we are going through the terrible 2s and 3s all over again, but it's the terrible 12s and 13s. He remains nonverbal, but can definitely get a point across when he wants to. To say all that, I feel that my life experiences have helped me become a more diverse teacher. Being 18 and living in California, I was exposed to so many different cultures, languages, experiences, and groups of individuals who shaped the person I am today. Growing up in Arkansas, homosexual people were almost unheard of in the 80s and 90s, and living in California, I was exposed to homosexual individuals, transgendered individuals, individuals who cross-dressed, and it wasn't a big deal. I learned to accept people for who they are by showing you with their character, not their orientation. I attended a bilingual church to help with my Spanish. I was exposed to many different languages outside of Spanish. The Spanish spoken in Mexico is different from the Spanish spoken in Spain, and it's different from the Spanish spoken in Colombia, which is different from the Spanish spoken in Peru. Many of my coworkers were not only bilingual, they were multilingual. One of my coworkers was fluent in 5 different languages. She was fluent in Spanish and French. Her mother was French, her father was Spanish. Those were her first languages, then English, German, and Italian. I had coworkers from Colombia, Peru, Vietnam, the Philippines, Japan, Ireland, Norway, and South Africa. So how did I end up teaching art? Started out as a special education paraprofessional, and I had an amazing mentor teacher who convinced me to go back to school. I was a special ed parapro for 2.5 years. I taught my first 2 years K-1 self-contained. I taught a year of resource K through 9, and then another year of 9 through 12 self-contained, and now I'm teaching art at Risen. So once I finish this mat, I plan on completing my special education certifications and keep that on my license. I've asked my students what makes me different from other teachers. The answers I received were that I get to know my students as individuals. I'm accepting of students no matter how they present themselves. I'm welcoming when they enter the classroom. I ask them follow-up questions about events they've had going on in their lives, and I give them a clean slate every day no matter what. I talk to them, not at them, and I keep snacks and bottled water and actual food so they know they can always come to my room if they need something. Thank you.